So Christmas is just around the corner and you may still be struggling to buy that ultimate Christmas present for your motorcyclist loved one. But today, I think I might have the answer for you. Heated motorcycle gloves. I wasn't even aware that these existed up until about 2 years ago. And I don't know why, because these are actually really good, especially this time of year. So today we're going to be comparing two different types of gloves, one cheap pair and one more expensive pair, but probably around the mid-range. Then we're going to go out and test ride with them and see which ones I would actually recommend. So for today's comparison, we've got a really cheap pair. These were £25 off of Amazon and they are very generic. You can get quite a lot of these from different sellers, but they all pretty much function in exactly the same way. The more expensive pair cost me £150 off of Amazon, and these ones feel far more premium. They are branded Snow Deer, but they are also made in China. So the biggest differences between these two. The more expensive pair uses a lithium battery, a rechargeable lithium battery, which is pretty small, and it just connects up to a little cable like that. And this is a 7.4 volt, 2200 milliamp hours. It's not the biggest battery in the world, but apparently according to the spec sheet, these gloves should last up to 8 hours on the lowest heat setting, up to 5 hours or 4 to 5 hours on the medium heat setting, and maybe up to 2 hours on the highest heat setting. The cheaper gloves, they don't come with any batteries whatsoever. They have a little battery pack that plugs in to a little cable again, but this battery pack, you have to supply your own batteries. These are rechargeable batteries, again, also from Amazon. I actually quite like the design of these because it means you don't have to wait around charging up your lithium battery if you forget to do it. You can have these just on charge and pick them up as and when you need them. The only thing that I suspect might be an issue with these gloves is the performance. The heating performance might be determined by the types of batteries that you use. So the more powerful AA batteries that you use, the better. Each of these takes 3 AA batteries, quite a lot of batteries. So that is something else to consider if you are going to buy a cheaper pair. And there's only one heat setting, on or off. So let's take another look at the more expensive pair here. You can tell that these are very well insulated, they're armored as well. To be honest with you, even without the heat on, these gloves are very well insulated and do quite a good job at keeping the cold out of your hands. The cheaper gloves, they don't feel anywhere near as insulated as the more expensive pair. They just feel like a standard glove with maybe some cotton wool in there, or I don't know, some other kind of material. But this material on the outside isn't very thick, but it does have padding on the inside. So let's take these two pairs of gloves out and see which one is actually the better deal. Let's go. All right, so I've got the higher end gloves on. These are the Snow Deer gloves with the lithium batteries. Now I've just worn them out here. I haven't turned them on yet, so we'll see how quickly they turn on. But one thing that is a bit annoying is the fitment around the jacket. I would prefer if these went over the top of this, but it does get in the way. So having to put it like that, but it does get in the way of the control unit right here, unfortunately. But okay, so to turn them on, it's just a case of holding the button. Then it turns on. You've got an indicator there for your battery, but it's got 3 levels. So let's put it on the medium level. And we'll do the same with this one as well. See how quickly they heat up. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying how bulky they are really around the sleeves, but okay. Let's see how we do. So we're just going to do a loop, then we're going to end up in the same spot, and then we're going to swap the gloves over. So right now I am feeling a little bit of heat coming through the glove, which is good, but the temperature today isn't as cold as I wanted it to be. It was really cold towards the beginning of December, and now it's warmed up quite significantly. So it's not going to be the best test in the world for me personally. I can usually withstand temperatures between 5 and 10 degrees. I can usually do with ease with just a normal pair of gloves with a pair of undergloves as well. And with these I'm not wearing any undergloves whatsoever. These are just the gloves themselves. I expect them to do quite well, to be honest with you, as they do produce a lot of heat if you just wear them normally without not being on the bike. They do produce a nice amount of heat, but the real test is going to be temperatures below 5 degrees Celsius, at least for me, because my hands really do suffer during the winter months. That's what puts me off a lot of the time from riding during the winter. It's not necessarily because of the road conditions, although that is something that you should be thinking about if you are going to go out and ride in the winter, but for me the biggest worry I have is about my hands. Oh, my feet are really slippery off the pegs as well because of the mud that we were just in. Right. So far they are nice and toasty. My hands, they're not too hot, they're not cold yet. And I think from wearing them just to that spot without having any heat on, I think they do quite well just as normal gloves. But they are bulky, they do feel bulky. I imagine I'll get used to it, but I do prefer wearing thinner gloves if I can help it, just because I like to have a better feel of all the controls on my hands. But to be fair, whenever I'm out riding in the winter, I have the exact same problem because I'm wearing 2 pairs of gloves usually at the exact same time. So I don't know, maybe these feel a little bit better than 2 pairs of gloves, but so far so good. They feel nice. They feel quite flexible, even though they are bulky. They don't feel all too rigid. So hopefully, yeah, I'll be able to wear these for quite a long time. Now the spec sheet says, I think that on a medium heat these things should be able to last about 5 hours. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe because the gloves should be insulated, maybe, but on the low heat you're looking at up to 8 hours apparently on these gloves. I'm not sure if I believe that. On the highest heat I think they'll last probably a couple of hours max. Not very much at all, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, my feet are really slippery. They're slipping on the gear lever as well. But yeah, so far so good. I'm literally not feeling any of the cold air going through my hands. Now the roads that we're going to be doing today on our little loop, on our little test, are going to be a mix of 50, 30, 40 mile an hour roads. So it's not motorway speeds by any stretch of the imagination, but I imagine motorway speed you would probably want to have the gloves on at full blast. I was complaining about this, but to be fair, I'm not feeling any of the cold air going into my arm. So I suppose it's not too bad with this jacket having the sleeves open. But yeah, normally of course if you're wearing gloves that aren't heated, then you'd want to close that up to yeah, to give your arm a helping hand, deliver warm blood to your extremities, to your phalanges. Phalanges, you know what that is? That's the Latin for fingers, I believe, in anatomy. Yeah, so far I'm pretty pleased with these, and because these are, I'd say these are expensive. 150 quid, that is quite the investment in these gloves. You've got to be doing quite a lot of winter riding to benefit from these kinds of gloves. But I suppose if you are an all-round and all-year rider, then these will probably be a godsend. Yeah, I think you'd really appreciate them. Me, I tend to ride as less as I possibly can during the winter months, just because it is a hassle. But then again, this might unlock some more winter riding for me if they help as much as I hope they do. With the other gloves, because they take batteries, I think it might depend on the quality of the batteries that you get, but there is no heat adjustment on those gloves. I will just put that out there. There is no heat adjustment. It's just on or off with those gloves. So we'll see if they deliver too much heat or not enough heat. From testing just around the house, they produce a very small amount of heat, so I'm not sure if those gloves are going to be worth it, but they are some of the cheapest gloves you can buy. 25 quid on Amazon. Yeah, I don't know. If you are going to buy a pair of heated gloves, as convenient as using batteries are, rechargeable batteries, having the lithium, they just deliver far more power and sustained power as well for a much longer period of time. But I don't know, we'll see. I'll reserve judgment, because I haven't ridden with those cheap ones yet. Maybe they are the unsung heroes of today's video, who knows? Fingers crossed, because I do like providing cheaper alternatives for people if I can, wherever I can. I'm a cheapskate, you know, I am a penny pincher, so wherever I can I'm going to save money. If there's something that delivers the same or similar amount of performance to something that is more expensive but it's cheaper, then I'm going to go for the cheaper one every time. So I imagine that these, because they're off-brand, I imagine they are middle range, mid-range. I'm sure that there are some branded offerings from maybe motorcycle brands, or maybe Alpine Stars, or I don't know, some other big motorcycle brand that they probably do heated gloves, but I imagine they are significantly more expensive. So I haven't actually looked. I haven't looked at those offerings, but honestly, these so far are doing really well. They are really making my hands toasty. Not too much, and this is on the medium heat as well. Medium heat. They're doing pretty damn well so far, I think. My hands are really comfortable in these gloves. And by now, I think my hands would be feeling cold even at this temperature. My hands would be feeling cold, although it wouldn't get to the point where I'd have to stop riding and warm my hands up. It wouldn't be like that. But these, so far, with just the medium heat on at this temperature, I think I could probably ride for a long time. Because it's always my hands. My feet are fine, my body is fine, my face, more often than not, is absolutely fine. It's just my hands. My hands really suffer during the winter. Really do. And it really limits the amount I can ride during the winter. So maybe these gloves have unlocked a little bit more riding time. I suppose there is a limit to how far these gloves can go. And the thing is, here in the UK, we don't really get temperatures far below zero, even during the winter. So it would be difficult to kind of do a stress test of these gloves to see how much heat they can actually provide. But I was telling the wifey that if I was to have a snow fight, I would love having a snow fight with these gloves on, because you'd be able to play in the snow for ages, until basically the batteries ran out. You'd be absolutely fine playing in the snow for as long as you wanted. Handling the snow wouldn't be an issue. So I think right now these gloves are definitely worth it for me so far. We might do an update video on these gloves to see if, when it's really cold in January, February, I might head out and see if these gloves hold up during those temperatures. But right now I'm not feeling the cold whatsoever, just on the medium heat. No cold in my hands whatsoever. I think one thing to mention as well about these gloves is, of course, the lithium batteries, they will wear out over time, and they probably will lose performance over time as well. So I think you can buy spares of these types of batteries on Amazon, but yeah, these gloves should last you at least 5 years, I reckon, before the batteries start, you know, they start limiting the amount of performance that these gloves can do. Especially if you're using the high level heat yeah, I'm happy so far. I'm pleasantly surprised so far. So let's park up. We're near the end of our little route here. We'll park up and we'll try out the other gloves. Fingers crossed that they are the unsung heroes. I like cheap stuff, so I really hope that these gloves do as well as these, if not better. Alright, I'm not going to go back down there where all the mud was. I'm going to stay up here, I think. But all in all, pretty good experience with these gloves. They are bulky, but with the big controls of the ZZR, it's not a problem. I'm able to feel the indicator quite well and all the buttons. But the ZH2 does have smaller buttons on the same size instrument clusters. So, don't know, it might be worth doing a test with these gloves on there just in case I end up hitting different things. But definitely the indicator is smaller on the ZH2. And one other thing I would like to point out is these aren't chargeable via USB. They are mains powered, mains charged only, which it would have been really nice if you could carry around like a battery bank in your backpack and charge these up if you needed to. Just charge them up on the go. That would be absolutely fantastic. Maybe there's a way to actually charge them from the bike as well. But of course, if you were able to hook up a USB socket to your bike, if you're able to wire one up and charge them off the bike, wouldn't be a big deal. But unfortunately not. They are mains charged, these. But anyway, let's go ahead and swap these gloves over. Right, so putting these on. These are only one size fits all. That battery compartment is bulky, but the gloves inside feel comfortable. They don't feel as well insulated as the other ones. But yeah, let's go ahead and switch these on. So riding around with these with them off probably isn't the best idea in the world. But yes, as I mentioned earlier, performance of these might be different depending on the quality of the batteries that you use. I'm using rechargeables. They don't look as great either, to be honest with you. Yeah, they're just pretty standard wintry gloves, I suppose, that they've marketed as heated gloves for motorcycles. But well, let's see. I'm going to reserve judgment. We'll go around the same loop again and we'll see if these gloves are just as good as, if not better, than the more expensive ones. But right now, just off the bat, they are much thinner, which I do actually prefer because I'm able to get more feeling in the controls. I get more feeling in the clutch, more feeling on the buttons, more feeling on everything. And I think I've given these the same amount, roughly the same amount of time to charge. The same amount to heat up. So we'll see. But testing these out around the house, they did provide a little bit of heat, but it wasn't much. Maybe they take a little bit longer to warm up, I don't know. I don't know where the heating elements actually are on these gloves, because on the more expensive ones they are along the tops of your hands and along your fingers, but this one might just be along kind of just along the top of your hands or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. Right now the cold isn't getting in too much, I'm not feeling it, so we're doing okay. Of course, again, you do have to have your sleeves open to wear these comfortably, but these are a little bit smaller around the wrist, so I am actually feeling a little bit of air getting into my wrists, in and around my wrists. So maybe I have to find a better way of insulating these, but so far, nice and comfortable actually. Very flexible. Very easy to just wear and ride with. Yeah, doing all right so far. Like I said, we're using rechargeable batteries for these, and it's three AA batteries that this thing needs, that each of these gloves need. That's quite a lot of batteries. And of course, I mean, it doesn't give you really any kind of spec on how long that should last, how long the heat should last. But it depends on the quality of the batteries. But these should last a very long time. If they're only providing a little bit of heat, then you should last a significant amount of time. I'm not feeling any heat yet from the gloves, nothing substantial anyway. Nothing more substantial than if I was just wearing normal gloves. But we'll see. Don't know, it might be a case of having to switch the gloves on, leave them on for 15 minutes, half hour or so before you actually leave. Then maybe you feel the heat rather than doing it this way, just getting them out in the cold and turn them on in the cold. Maybe they struggle. But I do like the feel of them. I prefer the feel of these to the other ones, the more expensive ones, in terms of just use and feel. And it does look like they have most of the insulation around the outside of your hands, which is what you want. I don't think you'd be able to use these as snow gloves. So yeah, if you want to do a snow fight with these, they probably wouldn't do you as well as the other gloves. The other ones I think are provide a lot more heat, a lot quicker, and are far better insulated. I'm trying to think if there is heat coming through, if I can feel heat coming through, and at the moment, so far, I can't feel any heat yet. And this is at 10 degrees C. So that's not very cold, really. That's not that cold. I'm not feeling much heat yet. We are doing 50-60 mile an hour right now, but my fingers are the things that really start to hurt after a while. So the main thing for me is if my fingers can keep warm, then that would be ideal, which those with the other gloves, the more expensive gloves, they absolutely do. They certainly keep my fingers nice and warm, which is the main thing. But these gloves, like I said, I don't know where the heat is distributed in these cheaper gloves. So they might not be as great if you suffer from cold fingers like I do. Because for me it gets to a point where it is incredibly painful. Your hands really hurt, your fingers really hurt. And yeah, they're really red as well, really red hands. Just not good, almost like close to frostbite, you know? That's how my hands get. It is not good whatsoever. And you never know, maybe with these gloves, maybe it's just a little bit of heat is all you need to stave off that, you know, that cold that is incredibly painful. If you're out in the cold for even half an hour, you know, that kind of cold, the cold that really gets you, really chills you down to your bone. Down to your bones, yeah. Don't know, maybe it's enough. Again, I'm curious about doing a stress test with both these sets of gloves in January or February time to see whether or not they can keep your hands warm when it is like -5, -2, -3, -4 degrees C. Sorry, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I don't understand Fahrenheit. I do apologize for any US viewers. I imagine you can get these gloves in the US just like you can here in the UK and Europe, so I don't think that's going to be an issue for you because they are generic. They're both made in China. They're both off-brand. Yeah. I have to say, I'm not feeling the cold that much, but my hands are certainly feeling colder with these gloves on than with the others. Yeah, I can certainly feel a little bit of extra cold coming through these gloves than the other ones. I mean, out today we are going to be shooting another 2 videos. I might shoot one with these gloves, see if they produce any more heat over the next hour whilst I'm filming, and put on the other ones again. But the other ones, you can definitely feel there's an immediate impact with the more expensive gloves. Yeah, I'm I'm not feeling a lot of heat, but then again, maybe you don't need a lot of heat. Yeah, I don't know. With these gloves, it might still be a case of having to use the engine to warm your hands up a little bit whenever you're at a standstill. Well, I think we've all done that before. We've all been there. But yeah, might be one of those things that you'll have to do. I don't know. But sub 5 degrees, between 5 and 0 degrees, or even colder, I really don't think these gloves are going to do all that well, to be perfectly honest with you, on my initial impressions. Yeah, I don't think these are going to work anywhere near as well as the more expensive ones, which is unfortunate. Because I do prefer the design of these with rechargeable batteries, because rechargeable batteries are far cheaper than lithium batteries, and you can reuse them for such a long time. I do like... Ooh, found neutral. I do like that design, because then you can have them on a battery charger basically 100% of the time, and just change them out as and when you need to, rather than having to remember to take the lithium battery out and on its charger. Yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer the design of these ones, but that does seem to be a design feature of the vast majority of the cheap ones, that they use rechargeable kind of nickel batteries. You could use lithium batteries as well, AA's I suppose, if you wanted to, but they might perform better. I don't know, that might be interesting, an interesting test to do. Yeah, maybe if you get some more powerful batteries, will they perform? Will they perform as well as the others? Who knows? That'd be an interesting test. I might have to go to the shop and buy some Energizer lithium or something like that and see if they compare. But I think I'm feeling a little bit of heat in these gloves. I think I am. Just there when we were at a bit of a standstill, not moving very long, I think they heated up a little bit, but I think they are struggling to maintain the heat whilst we are on the move here, which might be a bit of an unfair test, but to be fair, that's what you expect, just to put your gloves on and go, and then turn your heat on as you're riding. With these you can't do that. You can't turn them on whilst you're riding. With the others you can. So it's a little bit more convenient there as well, I suppose. But I think my body heat is helping an awful lot with these gloves so far. Yeah, a bit of a shame, but I think they are working, but they're working very slowly. Very slowly indeed. I suppose that is probably for the best though. If these are a cheaper unit, you don't want them to burn you. Which I can imagine cheaper units doing. At least some of them, maybe. Because there was a pair of these, I think they looked exactly the same. There was a pair of them, I think they were going for £15. And I was like, oh, that's a bit too cheap. I wouldn't feel comfortable with those. But these types of gloves are out there at, so yeah, even less than what I got them for. A little bit of heat, I think a little bit of heat. I would be curious to turn these off, do the exact same run again, and see how much more I can feel the cold with these gloves with them off. Yeah, that would be another good test to do as well. But the thing is, I don't want to keep you guys here for too much longer. This is a first impressions video, and I will be wearing both of these sets of gloves throughout the winter months here in the UK. And yeah, by the end of February, when we're just about to enter spring, I'll do another kind of mini review of these gloves and tell you which ones I actually think I'd recommend to most people. But I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so everyone had an opportunity to buy them before Christmas if you wanted to for a loved one. I think during the winter months these are a good investment, and these are better than heated grips. I know. Proper Oxford heated grips, I don't think these are as... I don't think they are as good as these gloves are. These gloves are far more convenient,
and you don't have to worry about wiring them up to the battery, you don't have to worry about taking off the old grips, you don't have to worry about any of that. So I do think that from a convenience standpoint and from a performance standpoint, heated gloves are the better option over heated grips. But anyway, let's get back to the studio and let's finish off this video.
So concluding this video, I'm actually quite disappointed with the cheaper pair of gloves. They do provide a little bit of heat, and you can feel it if you're sitting indoors and you put these gloves on. You can feel a little bit of heat, but as soon as you start riding, you start getting that wind chill, the heat goes fairly quickly. But again, I haven't tested with any other different pairs of batteries. You might be able to get a lithium set of AA batteries, which might perform better with these gloves. Let me know down in the comments if you have gloves like these. Let me know if that is the case or if that's just a pipe dream. However, if you want a glove that actually does what it says on the tin, these are the ones that you have to go for. The heating element as well, I could feel it all the way in my knuckles and all the way down my fingers. So for me, these gloves were definitely the clear winners in terms of heating performance. And I only used the medium heat. I was out for 3 hours, 4 hours shooting multiple different videos. The glove test was the first video that I tested out these gloves, and these are the ones that performed the best consistently. There you have it, everyone. That is my recommendation for today's video. We've got, unfortunately, the best performer is the more expensive one, and it might be one of those things where you pay for what you get. And considering that these cheaper gloves don't come with any batteries and there's only one heat setting, you can't increase or decrease the heat going through the glove. Yeah, not that great. And as well, the heat will just escape. From these gloves, the heat will just escape anyway. So these ones are probably more efficient because they're better insulated and they'll protect you more from the cold anyway. So these ones are definitely the more recommended ones from us. So thank you ever so much for watching today's video. If this one has helped you out, definitely leave that like, get subscribed. Remember, we are going live this Thursday at 6 o'clock UK time. It's been the first time that we're going live in a long time. So we'll see how we get on, and we look forward to seeing you there. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A and discuss the channel's performance over the last 12 months. So yeah, please make sure you be there. We really appreciate it. But yeah, thanks again. Take care, ride safe, and we will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.